and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Estate World Podcast. All right, well, good. Thanks for joining today, you guys. I am with Jeremy Pekarek and Jesse Pekarek. I am Scot Pekarek, and yes, we all have the same last name. I don't think it was a coincidence. I think there was actually some premeditation, I think, with that, unless my mom was sleeping when these two were conceived. Anyway, so thanks for joining me today, guys. What I really wanted to do is just get together today and talk a little bit about what's going on in your lives. Obviously, we have got what is referred to as a black swan event going on with the whole coronavirus, and those you guys who are fans of Jeremy, what's his name?
That's Talib.
No, Chris.
The guy who wrote Black Swan.
Oh, wow.
It's been sitting on my nightstand for 6 months.
Yeah, and Chris Voss, the creator of the Black Swan Group. Never split the difference. So anyway, I kind of want to just touch base with you, Jesse. You're down in Phoenix. We're here in flyover country where you are from, and dealing with the social distancing and just all of the uncertainty and fear right now that people are feeling. Because they don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, it's bad enough you've got all the concerns about how serious is this illness? How can I protect myself and my family? How do I protect the vulnerable? There's lots of guidance from the CDC, the federal, state governments. But you add on top of that all the stress people are probably feeling from am I going to have a job? If you're a small business owner. Little known fact that, most businesses, whether they be small or large, aren't operating with, mountains of cash in the back office, right? It's not like Walmart where, hey, there's more in back, you're out of hockey sticks. There's got to be more in back. The amount of money in back is usually about a month, maybe 2 months of cash flow. I mean, look at, let's take the most extreme example right now, the airline and hotel industry, restaurants, small businesses. These are people, the employees that are being let go who are facing the fear of not having a paycheck. And then the owners who have to make those, horrible decisions too, as, do I try to keep my doors open, use up all my savings to try to keep my doors open. I mean, it's really one of those, it's almost an impossible situation for most people to have comprehended 2 or 3 months ago. So we want to try to keep it a little lighter today and talk about, Jesse, what are you doing to keep your sanity down in Phoenix? I mean, I know you have the luxury of having nicer weather, but what are you doing day to day to keep your spirits up?
Besides dressing up as a leprechaun.
Well, we do have more holidays right around the corner, but I might crack the costume boxes, went out early and just have a little fun. No, I try to get outside. I mean, the sun, just the weather, and obviously, like you said, we do have that luxury, but I obviously am not as busy as we usually are. Of course, it's shutting down. We're still working and everything, just at a much lower capacity. And I tend to try to spend time. I mean, the first week really just kind of cracked me across the face, like holy crap, and feeling for all
hold on a second, Jesse. I know I prodded you to put that headset on and that microphone. Yeah, now I'm going to prod you to take it off and go with your camera, because that thing has got more feedback than your husband right now. It's giving me more feedback and more back talk than Brian. And
well, that's said enough.
Yeah, no, much better. Yeah. It was like every word was like.
Now there's only one of you instead of 3.
It was like I was back in my head. Yeah, exactly. Back in college, having a bad reaction to the sugar cube. Anyway. Anyway, so you're getting outside. I mean, I hear vitamin D is excellent for the immune system. Those of you who don't know vitamin D, the sun, getting sunlight helps increase the vitamin D. Apparently you can OD on it, but people in northern climates are, at very low levels of vitamin D in the winter months, right? Because they're not getting any sun.
Yeah, vitamin D, obviously vitamin A, fruits and vegetables, vitamin C. But to keep my spirits up, I try to find ways. Again, I got just like everyone, just got derailed seeing all these people and families, getting laid off work and trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And you feel for those small business owners too, having to, like you said, Scott, having to make those decisions. And I'm trying to figure out how I could help other people, because what always makes me feel good and feel better mentally and spiritually is helping other people wherever I can. And I just try to, I don't have a lot, but I try to be creative. And, I put up my Easter tree, and that makes me happy. It keeps my spirits up. So I made a bunch of bows in case other people, I see on social media, people are putting their trees up and making Easter trees. So I'm like, hey, I got all this ribbon, I got these bows, come by and pick them up. And just to try and create some, some positive vibes, some good energy.
Yeah. Well, because, at our core, we look at ourselves as individuals, but, really we're 40 to 60 trillion cells, right, in our body. And what are cells? They're made up of molecules. What are molecules? Made up of atoms. What are atoms? Subatomic particles. And what are they? Well, those are negative and positively charged fields of energy, right? Like that's what they are. They're not this, when you look at an actual atom, it's not this, this perfect sphere with these, elliptical orbits that, function. It's actually chaotic, right? And it's negative and positively charged fields. And so at our core, we as individuals, we are energy. So that energy that you put out in the universe is absorbed by others, and you get a choice, right? You could make that energy be, a positive ripple, or you could make this be like a negative, or like a Dementor from Harry Potter, for instance. Remember those guys that came out? Yeah. Immediately you were overcome by terror and fear and wanted to die. So, you could kind of, despite whatever challenges we have, and trust me, I'm not trying to minimize any of this. Like, I'm pissed off too, just like everybody else a little bit, like, why is this happening now? Right? There's never, is it ever a good time to have like a pandemic? I don't think so. Okay. So, all right, Scott, I have to have this self-talk where I'm like, Scott, shut up, stop it. Just stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop being mad. And this happens every day, like multiple times, right? Because you're frustrated, you can't do more. And I love what you said, Jesse, about helping other people and, getting out. Because you know what? That is nothing, no matter how bad you have it. If you can go help someone else, you just made your day and their day better. And it just added, you just built equity in life.
Well, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Scott, but it's like, every day literally is a new day we got to figure out, because everything changes every hour, every day. And it's like, you wake up, it's like, okay, what's going on today? How can I make it the best day I can? Because, again, we can't change certain things. We can't change, but we can change our attitude. And it's funny. One of the other things I did, I cracked this out yesterday with Corey, our other brother living down here now. And I bought him this thing called, myintent.org. It's a really cool thing about positive mindset. It's a great nonprofit. And I thought about that last week. I'm like, this is a perfect time. I purposely bought a bunch of these other things. You take this little quiz, and, I decided to make mine yesterday, and mine's gratitude. So it's like, despite all this crap going on, I got a lot of shit to be grateful for. So I wear this and I put it on Facebook. If anyone wants one, take the quiz, pick a word there or make your own. I got plenty of these, just a little punch. And you punch your word in, and I wear it.
I got one of those. Yeah, those are awesome.
I love it. I
got one when I went to Genius Network, like in November down there in Phoenix.
Well, one thing that's interesting, talking about positive fields and negative fields. I'm not sure where I read this, but there is almost.
I probably wrote it.
Right, you are a published author, but there's not a whole lot of difference, if any, from your physiological state, if you're anxious or if you're really excited. So like this morning was probably the first morning that I actually woke up a little bit anxious from all this. I'm like, yeah, this kind of this is kind of actually entering into somewhat of a shitstorm. But, you know, I just kind of reevaluated myself. I'm like, well, you know, how would I be different if I were really excited? I'm like, you know, just my physiological state, I felt like I'm ready to go out for a really awesome run or something like that. And I felt no different from being just about ready to do something really positive from this morning when I was a little bit anxious. I'm like, you know what, it's just another day. It's just another challenge. Nobody's at my door trying to kill me.
Right. And your body doesn't know the difference when the mind creates, you know, the perception of something is the same as it's happening. And, you know, I posted Bruce Lipton's newsletter on my Facebook wall today. But he talks about fear and stress and its impact on your immune system. And when you are stressed out, when you're in a stressed out state, you know, your body doesn't realize that, okay, you know, there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex behind the bushes over there. You get a little stressed out, right? Well, what happens is all the blood, your body quits worrying about getting Ebola, right? Or E. coli or staph or strep infections. And it goes and it sends all the energy to your limbs because it's like fight or flight, right? So unfortunately, we as a society, we have created, you know, stressful moments, right? Like I'm more stressed out about what's going to happen to the stock market or my health than is justified right now, because like I'm basically quarantined, you know, with everybody else, practicing social distancing. I haven't been sick. I guess technically I'm high risk because I have a fucking brain tumor. Ooh, sorry, that was sorry. A slip. Freudian slip.
Sorry, Zuckerberg.
Sorry, now explicit, but a dang brain tumor. And you know, the reality is that, you know, I'm healthier than I've ever been. Like I got to stop. You know, you got to like, but your body doesn't know when you're stressed out. It doesn't know that it treats that the same as it would if there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex behind the bush, right? That you got to run away from, and it takes all the energy away from healing, and puts it into like your extremities. So you basically are taxing your immune system, which is a self-perpetuating problem where you actually increase your chances of getting sick. So anyway, I did the Bruce Lipton article, but something I got to share with you. Do you guys know what this is?
Saltines, baby.
Saltine crackers. So my kids, God bless them, they're 6.
They learned about the saltine cracker challenge.
Well, no, they learned about, you know,
putting a quarter stick of butter on each cracker before you eat it.
Pretty much, yeah. So they learned about, like, I was thinking about it last night because I was having one of those moments where I'm like, all right, this sucks. You know, what if the state goes down into like a lockdown? And I was thinking about my life and where I'm at right now. And and the kids were talking, they had tried saltine crackers for the first time. They thought they were awesome. And it made me think back to this memory I had growing up on the farm in the 80s. Remember how poor we were back then? Jeremy, you weren't alive. But the 80s was when like 50,000 family farms went out of business. All right. And Jesse and Jeremy, you were just being born at that time. But it was terrible. It was a horrible time to be a farmer.
I've had 3-course meals of ramen before, Scott.
Well, there you go.
I'm not that young.
Yeah, you've had your own hardships, but this is my story. So but I just remember the 80s were just absolutely horrible. We never had money. We were always wondering if we're going to be able to heat the house. We cut wood. Remember we chopped wood by hand. We were cutting wood in this 30-acre woods behind our house when it was like 10 below because we had nothing to heat our house. We had like no food, even though we were farmers. We had no food to eat, and I remember we raised our own chickens, and we butchered those chickens, and we had, you know, these chickens in the freezer that we ate. I think we ate chicken for like 372 days straight. But we were happy to have chicken, right? Because we had food, and we were happy. Like, you know, you go to the thrift stores and they have the bread, you know, the day old bread. Well, then they have this other thing of bread where they cut the loaves on the top. Right, they split them. They split the plastic bags, and that's the bread that's meant for like dogs and cats and pigs. Well, we wouldn't buy the day-old bread. We would buy those boxes of bread because instead of being like 50 cents a loaf, it was like 50 cents for the whole box. And then we would freeze that bread, and then we'd pull out a loaf anytime that we'd make like French toast. We had like 5 kids in the family, so like, you know, a meal was like 10, like it was like a whole loaf of bread. So, and my parents had like zero money. We were getting the government cheese. We were on food stamps. We were getting medical assistance. We were getting fuel assistance, Tri-Cap. I remember that was like a Tri-County area.
Peanut butter in a tin can.
Yeah, peanut butter in a tin can. Dried milk. I remember the Barb from Beneficial would call, and there was like a debt collector, and like parents owed money. They're like one of these, what do they call them? Yeah, usury. Like what like a pawn shop almost, where you go and you get money at rates that are basically criminal. But my parents were so desperate for money, they'd go there and God bless them for doing it. But I remember that phone ring. We have to say my mom would be sitting right next to me. I'd be like, no, she's not here. But I just remember one night, I was so hungry. I got up at like 2 a.m. and I was so damn hungry. And all we had to eat were some saltine crackers and water. Like that was the only thing in the cupboard. And what triggered this last night was thinking about my kids and the life they have right now. And it made me think about what's the worst thing that can happen. All right. Like number one, I die of cancer, right? Okay. That's probably the worst thing for me. Maybe not for everybody else, everyone else wins, but Scott, worst thing for me personally, I'm dead. Or that meteor that's coming, that's got my name on it. It's like, it'd be the size of like a bullet by the time it reaches Earth, and that's going to go through my head. So, but that would be a better death than dying.
And then it'll cure your cancer.
Yeah, get my tumor and like wipe it out, and it'll be the greatest story ever told.
70 billion to 1 odds.
Yeah, that's how I'm going. But I'm thinking about these damn saltines that my kids were so happy to have, and I'm like, I saw it's like the perfect like bookend to like my life. I'm like, you know what? I was happy to have those damn saltine crackers that one morning at 2 a.m. because it's all the food we had. And I was looking forward to that crappy school lunch that we were getting because I knew I got a hot meal every day. So, and I just started thinking about this. And I'm like, worst case scenario, what happens? We lose everything. Like we lose house, business. I mean, not that I want this stuff to happen, but you know what? 30 years ago or 35 years ago, when I was digging in the cupboard for this, I was just fine then too. Like it just put it in perspective. I'm like, I don't have it that bad. Like it made me want to help somebody else. Right. And say, okay, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm healthier than I've ever been, believe it or not. 12 weeks, no drinking, or 14 weeks. I picked a hell of a time to quit drinking, by the way. I mean, there's a bottle of vodka. There's a bottle of vodka here at the office that's been sitting there for like a year and a half. I mean,
I think I'm the only one who's drinking it.
I know.
My address is.
Anyway, so saltine crackers. Think about that today. Think about the saltine crackers. I'm going to eat this cracker after we get, even though it has too many carbs. But after we get off this meeting. But anyway, it just hit home to me last night. And I wanted to share that story because, look, I get it. People have it crappy right now. Losing jobs and we did as a property management company is we have a whole list of resources that people can go to for food, for financial assistance, employment. There are people hiring right now like Amazon and, anybody that does home delivery.
Amazon and Amazon.com and.
Yeah. All the pizza joints like Domino's, I guess, is hiring. I mean, these aren't glamorous jobs, people. Like neither was pitching cow shit out of my parents' barn when the barn cleaner broke, right? We most people have this thing that cleans out the barn mechanically. Well, we had no money, so I'm gonna tell all the sad stories. We had to pitch cow manure into wheelbarrows, run them up 2 by, what is it, like a 2x8?
Oh, you forgot. You got a broken shovel.
Yeah, broken shovel.
Goes to the shovel.
You get
have a wheelbarrow that you put it in with holes at the bottom, so you got to hurry before the timer runs out and you lose all the urine. And then you hope that there's not ice on the board up the manure spreader and you don't fall off or fall in.
I fell in more times than I can count, and you have these like.
And don't forget, you have to empty up the manure spreader in the field by hand too.
That's right. Because the damn spreader didn't even work. Oh my God. And then the corn silage, we had to climb up this silo that's 50 feet high and then pitch out all the silage by hand
You
because
got the
that thing,
pickaxe, it's
yeah,
frozen to the wall.
frozen to the wall.
You know,
So, like,
I am actually kind of surprised that with 7 of us, nobody actually got killed up there
I know.
from
I
all
know,
the
I was-
fumes.
yeah, all the
There were
fumes.
so many times when I threw down silage and I threw down too much, and it had basically shut myself in by
Yeah.
5 or 10 feet. There's absolutely no ventilation.
Trying to get out of there.
Right. And you hear about all these people that get killed in silos because of the fumes. I'm like, how the? Yeah, I remember getting high.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're like, God, I'm getting really lightheaded. But nobody
Well,
died.
Did you ever have to climb up on when it was obviously, further down, but you still had to climb up to yell out the top of the silo to let
Yes.
someone know, get me out of here?
Yes.
I've done that before. Like, I'm trapped.
Well, yeah, you fell out of the barn that time when you were like, I don't know, 2 or 3, and we had to, like, I don't know how old I was, 4 or 5. And we pulled you to the house in a wagon. Then you had that big steel plate fall on you.
Yeah. Then
It'll break your leg.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I got kicked in the head. I was in a coma, like in the hospital for 3 days, and the 2 cows kicked me, and that was actually
Shit.
ironic.
Ryan had his
right
head
here,
ran over.
Ryan, I mean, I was on the tractor. I looked behind. Here's Ryan's head going underneath that wagon, being run over. I'm like, like you think of
Murder.
Steve
And
had
don't forget Steve.
he opened the radiator on the combine and he got sprayed with that hot water.
Oh my God. And then
Like-
I backed the grain auger into him in the wall.
Oh,
Oh, I remember that day.
That almost took him out.
I was there for that one and the radiator. Whoa.
Yeah, he got a double.
And I had front row seat for Ryan. Holy shit.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's it's easy to get caught up in starting to feel sorry for yourself. And I got, you got nothing. I mean, we're so lucky to just be alive, and to have each other. Like it's pretty crazy, and it's easy to get caught up in the TPS reports and what cover sheet to put on them. And, and not that these aren't real problems, not the TPS reports, but, people who have, lost their jobs and stuff, and people who are, who are struggling to make payroll, let's not forget that, people are like, well, what's the landlord going to do to the rent for the renter? I'm like, well, that landlord has to pay the mortgage, and that landlord has to pay the taxes, and that landlord's got to pay the water bill and the trash bill. And I guarantee you, many of these landlords I know are probably operating on less than a month's reserves as well. And that's a fact. And tenants are operating and homeowners are operating on a month or less reserves. So, everyone have a little empathy. Like, don't assume that the other guy has it better. Don't assume they have it worse, but assume that people all have the same challenges. And someone who's, fearful that they might lose their job or may not be able to pay their rent or their mortgage, there's also people on the other side, your employer or your manager who might have those same fears, right? And everyone's got to make like really tough decisions. So you have to have some empathy for each other. And at times like this, there's, look for the opportunity. What can you do? And I'll tell you, the number one thing that I can do is help someone else, right? Because it immediately gets my mind off my BS, right? And not that my stuff isn't real. It's not to minimize anything that anybody's going through. You got someone sick in a hospital right now, someone who might be dying. Like, those are real problems, right? Like that's real. But you gotta like somehow keep it in perspective, right? And when you're struggling, go try to find someone who's got it worse.
Well, and Corey, our brother Corey, is obviously he's working at the Mayo Hospital right now as Jeff, but it's like, and before this whole thing broke out, it was, he was having some tough times. We've all had tough times, but it's like, what a great perspective to put it all in perspective, working at the hospital, seeing, and it's not about us, about this quarantine. It's not about us. And, it's about keeping everyone else safe who is at high risk. But to your point, Scott, about this, having empathy, it's like, I checked myself last week. It's like, okay, I was supposed to have some new grindings dropped off for the animals. Okay, they couldn't do it on Tuesday. They're supposed to come Saturday. Didn't hear from Saturday. It was like, you know what? This is our new norm. We have to slow down and realize that things are not going to be this instant gratification anymore. We've got to remind ourselves that people are operating on very, very, if they're operating at all, hopefully they are, but if they are operating, they're operating on a very lean budget. They're trying to keep things going. So it's like, you know what? It's going to get here when it gets here. In the meantime, find some other stuff to keep yourself busy, make people happy, and do what you can to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, social distance, we get that, you don't want to spread it, but, go help somebody else out. Do something, anything you can do to, better the lives of someone else right now. I mean, the problem is that when you have periods of, what the economy is, you got periods of expansion. I saw this in 2008 with the Great Recession. I saw it in 2001 with the dot-com thing crashed. I saw it, 1987. I was in like middle school. I remember that, and there was a mini recession when the Gulf War started. But, people tend to over leverage themselves and get a little bit too, take a few too many risks. And then when you get like something that happens, this, we knew the coronavirus was in China. We knew it was in Wuhan. But I don't think anybody saw this happening, right? I didn't. And I've been leaning down. I started my financial fasting Jan 1 because I saw myself being a little reckless last year. Not reckless, but just, not like trying to do too much, too fast and stuff. And just saw myself getting a little over leveraged and started pulling back. And unfortunately, if you look at the state of many restaurants, it's not a question of over leverage. Restaurants are like a low margin business. Like in the best of times, most restaurants are running with, 2 weeks, if they're lucky, of, capital reserves. If they're family run, they might have a little bit more cushion or a little less, who knows? But when you've effectively shut them down now, which we're going on, I don't know, 3 weeks or so. Yeah, you can do takeout and stuff, but I don't imagine most places that are accustomed to dine in are seeing the same returns that they would with takeout. There's exceptions that prove the rule. I get that. Everybody wants to troll me and tell me no, yeah, fine, troll me. I don't care. We welcome trolls here. I'm your overlord. But the reality is that a lot of these restaurants, no matter what happens, isn't going to happen fast enough. They're not going to reopen. So what do you do? Like, there's some real fear there. Like people, how do we, how do these people, find other work right now? And like I said, every day we're trying to add to our list of like available resources that can help people out, right? Maybe it's, you got to swallow your pride and get food stamps, SNAP, right? Maybe you got to swallow your pride and go get unemployment. Do it. Maybe you got to maybe you got to ask, family member for help. Do it. Just get through it, get through it. There's a phrase I heard and trust me, I'm not perfect. Christ. I've got more warts than most people. It's my picture on here that I do the filter. So like, you don't see the warts as much. I have a wart filter, but there's a phrase I heard, I'm trying to make a light of my warts, huh? Way to go, Scott. But there's a phrase I heard: circumstance does not make the man. It only reveals him to himself. And woman too, man or woman. But I found myself wanting when I say that phrase and I look at some of the places I've been, even the last 6 months. I'm not proud of some of my behavior even then, right? Since hearing that phrase for the first time. But every moment's a moment to turn it around. So remember that. If you're down, if you're feeling you got a case of the efforts right now and you just feel like you don't care, you're just frustrated, just remember every moment is a chance to turn things around. It gives you a moment to change things. So someone needs something, instant message me. Not you, Jeremy. Your job is to help me. That's why that is the mission you have accepted. So, but no, and there's a wake up word. Your job is to be the light in the night right now. For those of you that can, be that light for your family, your community, your friends. Hell, you might have to be that for your parents. who knows, but think about how you can be that light, and think about how you can help others. And for what my part, I'll do what I can to help other people. I don't know what that means. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know who, but I think we'll come on here every day at noon, and we'll give a little pep talk. Nothing else. I can see you guys if we get quarantined today. If nothing else,
it might happen.
And if people want to, if you get sick of it, then we're gonna do it twice a day. That's always my threat. Either watch me once a day, or I'm gonna come on twice. And I'm gonna find a way to get Zuckerberg to get me on your feed like in perpetuity, so I'm like the only guy that comes up. So anyway, anything else to add, you guys?
I don't know. You know what? I want to say also, it's important to be, give yourself a pass too. Like, I was all kicking myself, and I swear I probably slept for most of the day on, God, what was it, a week ago. And I just couldn't figure out this new norm. What am I supposed to do? Where do I go? What direction do I turn? And then I'm like, well, what is everyone else doing right now? They're doing the same thing. How many people just got laid off? So you know what? Figure out, remind yourself what you're good at, what you can provide, whatever that is, and focus on what you can do, not how much you just got derailed because everyone just got derailed. So my thing is, I just try to find something fun. A lot of times I just take videos of the animals, which seems to bring people's spirits up. They'd like to see the animals, and if that's something they're doing with their kids at home, and it gives them a break.
Wait, Jesse, you have animals?
I take a few videos.
Wait. When did this happen?
Sorry to break the news to you, Scott.
You have animals?
Take yourself out from under that rock.
Why don't you post a few videos on Facebook so other people can enjoy?
What do you think I was doing when you called me?
Well, it's one of two things. Jeremy finally gets it.
Yeah, I think now is a really good time to find your special purpose. That's the jerk quote from Steve Martin. But
that's from the jerk.
Yeah, I found my special purpose. Along with the new food book is here. Things are gonna happen to me now. But we're probably gonna move into a stage of kind of a barter economy, I think, for the next few weeks. People don't have their jobs. If you need something to do, and you know how to cut some hair, try to go cut somebody's hair while social distancing. Or
are barbershops closed now?
Probably, and they're Stacy said they're closing down dentistry even. Yeah. So I think if it's non-essential, they closed down 2 of their clinics. They do root canals, so they still got emergency personnel running. But there's, if you know how to do some carpentry, there's probably people out there that need their house, some stuff done around their house, and maybe they're phenomenal cooks, and you could trade some labor for some awesomely cooked meals. I just got an email earlier this morning from restaurants.com where you can basically buy gift certificates at a discounted price. So, if you're trying to run lean and make your dollars stretch, but you still want to support local businesses, you could still, it's a great website. You could buy gift certificates at a discounted rate. I'm sure your local businesses will appreciate at least getting something so they can get their employees to still cook meals and deliver meals. So there's the economy will still run. It's probably going to be running on lean, but there's always ways that you can go out and above and help your fellow neighbor, your fellow man, and your fellow business.
Well, and a little bit, spend some time with your family. Like there's I know that's really hard. It's hard for me to turn off sometimes, but the kids, like I'm going to stop at Target before they close those, and they love Pokemon cards. So I'm going to do a scavenger hunt. All right. We're going to do a map, and they'll probably complain that they didn't get enough GXs or whatever the hell they are. EXs. Yeah. Don't ask. But for about 5 minutes, it'll be a fun family activity. They enjoy going around and finding the stuff and
Catching them all.
catching them all. And, there's, Pokemon Go apparently. And there's little things you can do. Watch the movies, but get outside if you can, man. The fresh air, it's so liberating. Practice breathing, meditation.
Yeah, it's a good time to get some exercise. I mean, this whole virus, it's respiratory. So the stronger you can make your body and your lungs, if you do get it, I don't play a doctor in the bedroom, nor am I a doctor, but I think the stronger you can make those organs that can be affected, the better position you'll be in. So, it's never too late to get some exercise.
Correct. I mean, you get some fitness is not going to hurt you, right? Being healthier won't hurt you from what I hear. I'm not a doctor either, but I hear being healthier is good for you. So
being healthier is healthy?
Yeah, being healthier is better than not being healthy. So if I can be so bold as to make that statement, but the reality is this: like there's a lot of like information and misinformation, right? That's out there. Do your best to also turn the TV off, not up, but off, and try to
turn the TV up.
You get that one. But because it's just, the TV and most of the internet, they're trying to get clicks, right? And eyeballs. And so they're gonna, yes, is there some good information? Yes, there is, of course. Okay. The exception, not the rule, but they're trying to get eyeballs and clicks, right? Because what are they there to do? Sell advertising. So just don't get caught up in the hysteria, because it'll kill you. The stress can kill you. It literally can kill you. All right. So anyhow, I think with that, we will put this out on our Real Estate World podcast. It's been a while, too long, actually. I got a little myopic with my focus, much to my chagrin, but we're back, and we will be back tomorrow at noon. And if you are, if you're still with us, this was going to be short, but never is. And you are a small business owner and you want to come on, or you're someone affected as an employee or out of work, or or heck, just you're stuck at home, or you're a stay-at-home parent and you want to come on. We want to hear your stories. We want to share it, and hopefully through through sharing your stories, you can inspire others to get through this with a smile. And when we come out the other end, we'll, hopefully not be too scarred by the experience. That, and hopefully Jeremy will clean that office behind him, because my goodness, does that look like a disaster. It looks like Jesse's used to look. Look at
that's
that.
Adam's space and your wife's space back there.
And that's my space. And you're the last one with an account. All right. Good stuff, guys. Boom. I'm here all week, ladies and gentlemen, or maybe not. All right. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Stay healthy. Jesse, please try to get a video or two of your miniature ponies. And
I'm trying to edit my last video from this morning down to less than 30 minutes.
It's been
and editing. And
it's been as long as we've been on this call since you posted the last one. So, all right. Love you guys. We'll see ya.
See you later. Bye.